So thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate you guys. I've got to tell you good news. We have hit over 50,000 apartment doors with voter registration. So I mean, that's really awesome. And Democrats live in apartments. I think, they are overlooked all the time, but it is a significant place. And also, people in apartments move. And with the rent prices going up like crazy, it's really important for us to engage with the apartments. So at least we've gone out and we have done what we can to register apartments. So that's really awesome. But now it's the next phase of all this fun stuff, which is block walking. So this meeting is focused on, block walking skills and, our fabulous candidates that we have on the ballot. And also how we use our new technology, Reach, to effectively block walk. And I've got to tell you, I block walk with Reach, and it is awesome. Because sometimes you hit a house of someone who's 18 years old and you don't know if the parents are friendly or not. And so in Reach, you can just put in the address and you can see the parents' voting history. So it makes me more comfortable to knock on some doors that may be unknown. So that's awesome. But, one thing I want to say is I don't believe the polls when they say those polls. I think they're baloney, and I'll tell you why. Because they're all focused on likely voters. And the thing is, young women aren't in that whole pool of likely voters. They're focused on older people. And so I believe we in Texas are going to do what we did in Kansas, and that's going to be where you're going to turn this place blue. Woo! I'm excited about this election, but that being said, we have work to get done, and that means we have 17,000 doors to knock on. So that means we need to start and go get them now. So, but real quick, we're going to have Stephanie, and I'm going to slaughter your last name. So she's going to talk about, she's an ACC bond trustee, and she's going to talk about bond propositions.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Garifanian. I am on the ACC Board of Trustees. I've been on the board since 2019, largely with lots of help from folks with election. So we have a bond that is going to be on the ballot this November, and it's going to be at the very, 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 very bottom of your ballot in Travis County, which is why I'm here really to ask your help to make sure that the folks that you're turning out to vote aren't just excited about what's at the top of the ticket, but make sure to go all the way through that ballot. So this is a $770 million bond, and it's really catered towards making sure that ACC is expanding our ability to connect the folks that live here now with the hands-on training that they need to get on-demand jobs that are in our region. We know that there's growing inequality in our region, but we also know that good jobs are coming here, and we just need more pathways to help folks who are here, maybe struggling with affordability right now, get the skills that they need to access those jobs. Those are jobs in fields like healthcare and manufacturing. Many of those jobs don't require a 4-year degree, but they do require some specialized training that we offer at ACC, but our current programs are at capacity. We have a nursing program waitlist that, and we have healthcare shortages in our community right now. So what this bond is going to help us do is double the size of our nursing program. We're going to build actually a new building in our Hayes County campus, which will be the first campus south of the river in our region that's actually offering nursing, because the healthcare shortage that we're seeing is especially acute in Southwest Travis County and Hayes right now. We're also going to build a brand new campus in Southeast Travis County that's focused on advanced manufacturing. We're building a brand new campus on the Pinnacle site. You guys probably know that, that very iconic Pinnacle Tower, but we have had to close that campus for many years because it was no longer safe. And this bond will help us build a new campus on that same site to make sure that we continue to have something in your backyard for students in this community. And the last thing that I'm incredibly excited to share with you about this bond is that it's really geared towards not just helping more students access these on-demand jobs in our community, but building wraparound services to help those students be successful. Something like access to childcare shouldn't prevent someone from getting an ACC education. This bot is going to help us provide on-site childcare, which as a mom I'm incredibly excited about. It's going to help us provide more health services to students, which has been a huge priority for our student government for a long time, and many more services that are really intended to make sure that we are providing the supports that we know students need to be able to not just enroll at ACC, but complete and get a job that will move their family ahead. So we've been endorsed by the party, but I'm here to ask for your support in November. And if you have questions, find me after. And we have yard signs now that I would love for you to take home if you're motivated. I have extra lit, and I'm grateful for everything that you all do for our community, and would love your support getting the word out beyond too.
Excellent.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was awesome. One of the things that's so powerful about this is, we're always fighting voter drop-off, right? I mean, that's why they got rid of all the straight ticket voting. So if we have something that we can push people to that's at the very bottom of the ballot and ensure that our Democrats go all the way down, then that's super valuable. So, I mean, there's more value in that than just, the value of ACC and educated people and everything. So, yay, thank you. And now we have Diana, and she's with the Travis County Democratic Party and our coordinated campaign.
Wake up. Are there any Democrats in the house? Okay, that sounds more like it. Listen, y'all, I'm just here to show some support. I'm really excited to be the coordinated campaign manager here in Travis County. What I think is incredible about this county and what makes it unique from others in Texas is how many people are involved and engaged in volunteering on a routine basis. And I'm so lucky that I get a chance to work with organizations like Blue Action Democrats, as well as all of our clubs and organizations, precinct chairs, community grassroots leaders, to get out the vote. So I'm here just to say hi. I know Katie, our party chair, was not able to be here today. I wanted to show support because all of our organizations are working in coordination to make sure that we do get out the vote, not just for Bethel, but like what you're saying, for all of the bond initiatives, all of the different individuals that the party has endorsed that are way a little bit down on the ballot. So I'm very appreciative to everyone who has been door knocking at the apartments. I think this is incredible. I think this is the premier experience that I've seen and I've heard of statewide. I think the work that y'all guys are doing is definitely a model that can be replicated all over. And I'm so lucky I get a chance to work with all of your leadership. So keep up the good work. I'm here for support, and I'm also here if y'all need any resources as well. Thank you.
Diana, can you tell them about the push pin system?
The push pins.
I was so impressed by that.
Oh, the push pins at the office? Are you serious?
Serious.
Okay, so
Super cool.
I'm a map person. I'm like a GIS, so I'm a weirdo and I'm a nerd. I love mapping. Anybody who knows, and I have it digitally too. So in our office, I'm in East 7th Street. We have 3 campaign offices. This one, the one in Pflugerville, and the one on East 7th. I'm mostly on East 7th in Pleasant Valley. So what I did was I put a map up that had all of our house districts, and it's all listed by precinct. And what I ended up doing was saying, okay, these are the precincts that Blue Action oversees. These are the ones that some of our non-Blue Action super precincts oversee. And then this is where my paid component can be. And if you take a look at that map, that's pretty much almost the whole county. Don't get me wrong, we have a few precincts that we're gonna work on and we have solutions for, but it gives us a good visual. And trust me, at our next donor briefing, we'll have that digitally for everyone to see too, but I think it's important because when we talk about how are we approaching these different precincts and how many layers of touches, the block walk is important. We're able to see on our end the doors you guys knock because of the Reach app, because of your van system. It's already synced into ours. And that's extremely helpful. But also we're able to get a better picture in order to see what work needs to be done, especially as it's like right around the corner for early voting. Right now, mail ballots have already gone out to people, so people are already started voting. So this gives us a good visual for everything. So yes, I believe in push pins. It's the old school method. I also have it digitally.
Have the mail-in ballots gone out to everybody? Because I was getting questions in our precinct.
Yeah,
We're
they should.
360, so we're
If
way
they've
over.
already requested it, they should, because on the 24th, that's when the military ballots start going out, and the other ballots should already have started going out.
Okay. Because some of them in our precinct haven't gotten them yet. So
Okay, well, that's an elections office thing. And we got to call the county on that one. Okay.
Where do we see your mapping at on the website?
No, it's not on the website. It's not for public.
No, it's just for you. It's just for you. Okay.
Cannot look at it anywhere.
Okay, it's
You
just
can go on East 7th in Pleasant Valley and take a look there, and you'll be able to see it. It's all up there. And we also have a new thermometer that lists our goals for phone calls. I think last week we made 20,000 phone calls alone, and then we'll have another one for door knocks for our paid and our volunteer components as well. Yeah, no worries. It's a good visual. All right, guys, I'm here if you need me. Woo.
Yeah, so you guys be really creative with reach. You know, one of the things, I've got college students, so anyways, they're both, you know, out of state. They're not going to come home. It's too much to fly them home. But anyways, one of the things I did to reach out to my fellow mothers is I added all their kids in there, all their registered kids. And so when their kids don't vote, I'm contacting their parents. I'm like, hey, guess what? I need to vote. What's the deal? So anyways, next Sarah's going to talk about the statewide slate, and then we're going to have a little bit of role playing, and then we're going to go for some Turks. So, not stood up in a while.
Okay, so hopefully this will help you with your conversations with people you are knocking on doors with, and also your friends and family. What I'm about to say is basically a shortened version of all these blue posters on the wall, so you can also take pictures of those if you want. I got bored one night and had too much wine and made them. So basically, I realized not everyone is tuned in as we are about all the statewide candidates, or they know that like Ken Paxton exists and they don't like him, but they don't realize he has an opponent who's basically like the opposite of everything he is. And everyone has an issue they like care about, right? So for me, it's public education. So these will hopefully just be really short things you can remember about each candidate. There's 7 statewide candidates running. It's not just Beto, there's 6 more that we should pay attention to. So I'll just quick go through some main things. I think we all know Beto by now. His main thing is that he genuinely cares about everyone. So Greg Abbott doesn't care about you if you don't vote for him. Beto cares whether you vote for him or not. That is the key difference to me. But you know, if you care about specific issues, public education, this whole slate is probably the most like pro-public ed slate we've like ever had. Which again, that's a pet issue for me, so I really care about that. So if someone cares about public schools, mention Beto. If they care about expanding healthcare, not even just abortion, healthcare, Beto, he cares about that. Common sense gun laws. Beto cares about common sense gun laws. And we're not talking about he's gonna take your assault rifles away, we're talking about he just wants to like raise the age limit. You know, it's like these are just really short things to remind people. Mike Collier is my favorite. Him, big things, public education, lowering property taxes, those two are actually tied together, fun fact. And then just general constitutional rights. If you want anything to get done, we have to get Mike Collier up there. So if someone is frustrated and they're like, well, I'm frustrated, but I don't know who to vote for, nothing gets done, tell them about Mike Collier, because electing him actually means we can get stuff done legislatively because he would control the agenda. So property taxes, public education, Mike Collier. Boom, you're done. Okay, and then the third one, Attorney General. So I call these Beto, Mike, and Rochelle Garza are the big 3 to me, because those are the big 3 like positions we all hear about the most. So like I said, Ken Paxton, I think every Texan knows who he is at this point. He's embarrassing. He's always in the news. His opponent, Rochelle Garza, is literally the opposite of him. She wants to root out corruption. Ken Paxton is corruption. She wants to defend our civil rights. Ken Paxton is literally taking them away. Another thing people should understand about the Attorney General is they issue legal opinions that don't always even mean anything, but they intimidate people. So Ken Paxton has done this a lot with public education. I used to work for public educators, that's why I keep going back to this. He would issue legal opinions about public schools that would scare school districts into doing things that weren't that great. But it wasn't like a legally binding thing, he just intimidates people. So if you talk to anyone who's embarrassed or frustrated by these lawsuits, guess what? He has an opponent and her name is Rochelle Garza. Oh, and fun fact, it's our taxpayer money that is being wasted with all those lawsuits. So if someone is a cheapskate like I am, tell them that, maybe they'll save some money if we elect a new person. Okay, so those are the big three. Now here are the smaller ones you don't hear about as much. We'll do Comptroller. This is my girl. I'm obsessed with Janet Gutting. Her vibe is awesome. I love her clothes. I want her to take me shopping. Anyways, the main thing about this race, she's running for Comptroller. Not everyone knows that Comptroller equals the state's chief accountant. It's accounting. Guess what? Texas has literally never had an accountant be our Comptroller. I don't know how that makes sense, but that's what's been happening. Janet is a CPA. She is a certified public accountant. So if someone cares about money, guess what? So does Janet, and she also knows what to do with money. Some smaller things about her, again, pro-public education. She would be key in legalizing weed and how to actually regulate it in a way that makes sense. And she wants to take away the taxes on feminine hygiene products, which I think a lot of women can get behind. Well, and anyone who just has a uterus. Okay, let's see. We'll go to Land Commissioner next. Jake Thieberg is a man. So he is running for Land Commissioner. The main thing to know about this office is it actually has to do with public education. So not only is he protecting our public lands, which is kind of obvious with the Land Commissioner, but those revenue streams from those public lands actually go into our public schools. So you can tie back climate change, science, national parks, state parks, back to public education. Another key fact about this race is it actually has to do with veterans as well. You would never think about this with Land Commissioner, because you probably just think, oh, park. But actually it has to do with public school and the veterans. So anyone you talk to that cares about our military personnel, this is a key race. I believe what it is the Land Commissioner's Office oversees the Veterans Land Board. Does that sound right? Pretty sure that's what it's called. So, but it helps veterans get, loans. So guess what? Apparently we have not had someone leading that committee for like years. So if we get Jay Kleberg, he can actually help our veterans, get the life they deserve after their service. So Land Commissioner, Land, Public Schools, Veterans. Boom, done. What do I got here? Okay, now another commissioner, Agriculture. So that's Susan Hayes. She's also a badass. The main thing with this race is rural communities, ethics, and weed. So a lot of those things matter to a lot of different people. I say rural communities because the position of Agricultural Commission is kind of self-explanatory. It does care about agriculture. So Susan is a farmer. She's lived in rural communities. So the key thing here is she wants to expand their opportunities and accessibility. Think internet. Greg Abbott actually vetoed a bill that would have expanded broadband access to our rural communities. So rural communities, we've had a lack of hospitals for our rural communities, which again ties back to healthcare, and then economic development. Speaking of being opposites, her opponent is also exactly the opposite of her. Sid Miller, he looks like a sausage. You've probably seen pictures of him. He looks like a sausage wearing a cowboy hat. He says awful racist things all the time, and Susan is not that. So again, we have, just up and down the ballot, we have really bad Republicans right now. They all have opponents, and their opponents are the exact opposite of them. All right, then the last one, Railroad Commissioner. Okay, so Sweet Luke. He is a youth, like I am. He's in his 30s. This race is often overlooked. The Railroad Commissioner, spoiler alert, doesn't have anything to do with trains at all. They actually have named it that to make it more confusing. It actually has to do with the oil and gas, And often this race is called the most, what is it? It's like the most important climate change election, which you probably did not even.
In the country.
In the country, yeah.
Because we are the number one emitter of
Right.
carbon.
Yeah. So if you talk to anyone who cares about climate change, and there's a lot of people, especially people my age, because we're like, we're not gonna have a world in 10 years. This is a key race for climate change, for science. Luke Warford, Railroad Commissioner. You would not think that that's what it is. And if you care at all about the electrical grid, which is not something we used to have to worry about, now we do, this office would actually play a key role in fixing the grid. So if fixing the grid is important to you, and it probably is, they need to check all the way down to Luke Warford on the Railroad Commissioner. I think that's all 7 of them. Does anyone have any questions? You want more info on any of them?
Just one thing on the ag commissioner, that position has a key role in school lunches
Yes.
and
Yes.
nutrition.
Yes, thank you. That is true. So the Agriculture Commissioner Office also has a key role in our children's lunches at school. So also for public education.
And going back to the rural hospitals, they actually have rural hospital money in the ag commission.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Any other tidbits?
Did you mention Lieutenant Governor? I don't remember.
Yeah, that's Mike. Oh, so yeah. So Mike's the Lieutenant Governor. He's my guy. I'm convinced he's my dad. If my dad were a Texan.
He's also CPA.
Yes, yeah. Mike is. I'm obsessed with Mike. He used to be CPA, and he also used to work in the energy sector. So he fixed the damn grid is one of his other slogans because he actually knows how we could do that. Plus public education, property taxes. Yeah.
What do you think the odds are that people are going to split their ballot?
Oh, I think it's pretty high.
Well, really?
Yeah. My personal thing, and this is maybe just because I'm really anxious and public education, it means so much to me. My worry is that we'll get a lot of crossover for veto, and then it'll stop there. And my hope is that more voters understand that we need all of them elected to collectively do the most good. The big 3 are probably the most key, and I think we could get crossover there. I think there's possibly a chance some Republican voters come out and vote for some and just leave other spots blank. But again, that's just me hypothesizing. But I think veto might get a lot of crossover. I'm worried that our other statewide candidates will not. And that's kind of why I made this, is because I just think people don't know that there are opponents to the Republican candidates out there. And when you're block walking on our lit, it literally has the voter's sample ballot on the back. When I went block walking yesterday and talked to people, they were so relieved when I flipped the thing over and I said, here's your sample ballot. And they were like, oh my God, because now we've just made voting that much easier for them. And it says we do put the Republican opponents on there. So that you can point out and be like, hey, Ken Paxton, he sucks. Guess what? Republican, opposite right there. I can't even talk. You point to Rochelle Garza. So we're giving them the info when we block walk. I just want to also give you little tidbits to, brag about our people. Because we have an awesome slate. They're so awesome. They're just adorable. They're wonderful. They are. They're pictures of each other. Super cute. Yeah.
Paxton just created a new election integrity division. And he has no jurisdiction over elections.
Yeah.
So I think Rochelle will make that into a human rights commission, potentially, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Child protective rights in some way.
Well, and that brings up a good point too. So this is also a pro-democracy slate of candidates, and the Republicans are not pro-democracy anymore. So someone might just be really fearful when you talk to them about the state of things and they don't know what to do, and they need to elect these Democrats so that we have people who care about voting rights and who care about, basic privacy and civil rights in the LGBT community. All of this whole slate, wants to make voting easier. They don't want to make it harder, things like that.
Isn't Dan Patrick also wanting to take away a lot of reproductive rights away from women?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's something a lot of voters who aren't
I mean,
tuned in don't realize. Like, it doesn't stop at abortion; it's your basic right to privacy. So we're talking about birth control not being allowed, and a lot of people are on birth control because they have endometriosis or because they got acne in college. So I mean, it's like, you know, it doesn't stop at abortion. So, you know, it's, if someone doesn't like talking about abortion, you could also just talk about, well, you know, what do you think about birth control, or
What about your daughter?
what about, you know, your daughter?
And the other thing is, public education is on the topic.
Yeah,
I mean, they're wanting to go
yeah.
really into any way to harm public education.
I think public education is dead if we don't win more of this election, honestly. So, because they want to go full school choice vouchers, which is basically just a way to take money from public schools and give people the choice to send their kids elsewhere. So that's when you look at the script for a minivan, it actually says, like, you can pick an issue, and I already decided ahead of time, like, mine is public education. So if that helps you out when you are block walking and you want to pick something ahead of time, public education should be pretty non-controversial, because you should just genuinely care about children. But yeah, public education is on the ballot and at risk. So, any other questions? Okay, well, if you're on our emails, I will send a link to a little cheat sheet that Courtney and I kind of combined. She turned my nonsense into more helpful info. So be on the lookout in your inboxes, and you'll get this little fun little guide. But also, again, if you want to take pictures of those posters, you can. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. That was awesome. Next, we were just going to do a little bit of role playing, and then we're going to go knock some blocks out.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for Michelle. I took your voter influencer training, and you shared with us a couple of issues with the application for ballot by mail that we needed to focus. I'm getting ready to pass some information on to some family members who need this. Is there anything recently that has shown up in addition to what you shared with us at the...
Do you want to answer that since you're at the mic?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I asked
fine.
the wrong
We're-
person?
No, you're fine. You're good.
No, I mean, I haven't heard any changes.
It's just those two things,
yeah.
right?
So just make sure to put both numbers
Right.
on there and
Take a picture.
take a
And
picture of
take a
your
picture of the
signature. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
All right.
You got it.
yeah.
All right, cool. So we've talked about minivan, we've talked about race, we've talked about statewide candidates. So we wanted to do a little role playing. So she's going to be our unsuspecting voter that I'm knocking on the door. So there's going to be a couple scenarios. Like, one might be she's not home. So I've like knocked on the door, waited like 20 or 30 seconds, no one's there. So I'm just going to leave this in the doorway, and on the minivan app, there's an option to say could not contact this person. So you can mark that, and then you just lip drop on the next screen, and you move on. I feel like half the doors nobody answers, especially if everyone's at work at the time that you're block walking. That's fine, just leave that for them. They'll appreciate it. Another scenario might be if you knock on the door and somebody opens the door, but that person on your list isn't there. So, you can say, hey, is Elisa here?
I'm not here.
She does live here, right?
She does live here.
Okay, great. We have her on our list as like a Democratic voter. We're knocking on doors this weekend to make sure our voters have what they need for the upcoming elections. If you mind giving this to her.
I will give it to her.
Great, great. Are you likely to vote too in this election?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay, well take a look at that lovely ballot. You'll see on the back we have like the whole statewide slate and everyone else who's going to be on your ballot, so you can also take a look at this. It's our little cheat sheet. You can take it to the polls if you want, or take a picture of it and take it to the polls. But yeah, and actually, are you more likely to vote like for Beto and the Democrats, or how are you?
Vote for Beto.
Okay, great, cool. So you can like mark that in your Reach app or the minivan app, because maybe she wasn't in the minivan app, but you can also add a contact in there. And if you have Reach, you can add her in there as well. You know, so it's like, hey, you got another person. So another option might be maybe this is Elisa, because it is, but maybe it's her and she's not feeling as friendly, like you're not feeling like a friendly vibe, but you know she's gonna vote for Beto because you can see her voting history. Maybe she doesn't have a lot of
I've got a sign outside.
Yeah, and maybe she's got a dog that she's wrangling, trying to keep the dog from running out the door, and
That
just,
is
like,
very common.
very common.
Very common.
I've had so many dogs run out on me, yeah. So you can tell she doesn't have a lot of time, but you're just like, hey, I know you don't have a lot of time, but I know that you're one of our most loyal voters, so we are doing what we do every election. We're leaving you a little cheat sheet. You can even see what each statewide office is all about, which is awesome that they've included this on the literature. So yeah, feel free to take this to the polls.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. It was so nice to meet you. I know you're really busy, you know. And you can mark her as done, right? Maybe she's really, maybe you're not friendly at all. Okay, maybe she's not. If she's like, maybe she's a Republican, then you can mark that as well on minivan. But maybe she's really friendly, and we've been talking for 15 minutes. So, well, let's first like knock on the door. Okay. Knock on the door.
Oh, it knocked. It was a realistic knock there. I don't think it's gonna fall down.
Okay, good. Okay, hi, is Elisa home?
I'm here.
Hi, my name's Lizette Resendez. I'm your neighbor. I live on Trout Drive. Nice to meet you.
Good to see
We've
you.
never met before. I'm also your Democratic precinct chair, and so I'm knocking on doors this weekend of like our most loyal Democratic voters, making sure all of our voters have what they need for the upcoming election.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm definitely gonna vote.
Oh yes, and I know I saw your Beto sign out there. I'm so excited. So yeah, do you know about the rest of the statewide?
I know about some of them.
Okay, cool. Well, we've included like this on this little cheat sheet, like information about each race, who the opponents are, but also the state senators, mayor, everything you need.
Awesome.
Do you know when you normally vote? Do you do early voting or do you?
Oh, I definitely early vote.
Oh, good. Do you know where you're going to be voting yet or when?
Yeah, Austin Oaks Church.
Okay, cool. Yay. Well, it sounds like you already have everything you need. Is there anyone else in the house that's going to be voting as well?
Oh, my husband.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to mark you guys down. And then also, since we've been talking for like 10 minutes, like, would you mind if I follow up with you, like, as the election gets started and just kind of make sure you
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to be pulling her up on Reach, which you don't have to do, but I've done this before and it's kind of fun because I've made friends this way. So, okay, is your number 310-261-4444?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, once the election starts, I might just send you a text message and just say, hey, it's me, Lizette. Just making sure that you've got your voting plan ready to go. Let me know when you voted.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So then I'll just mark her as like likely to vote Democrat, and I will follow up with her on Reach once the election starts. I guess October 24th. Then we'll be able to see. You'll start seeing like when people have voted or not. And so if I see like it's November 1st and she hasn't voted yet, then I'm definitely going to be sending her a message.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you were going to early vote, and you're running out of time. What other scenarios might come up?
Oh, I had one yesterday.
What was it?
Okay.
It was a guy who was probably not a Democrat, but engaged me in a very long conversation about Beto. So.
Was it? Oh, so it was a little more negative.
Oh,
It wasn't negative. He was actually very engaging. He was very respectful. It was a
good.
wonderful conversation. But
okay.
what do you do if somebody's not? Maybe do that.
Oh, okay. So if someone is, maybe they're on the fence, and
or they think he's going to take their guns away or something. Kind of go through that. You're not going to get it a lot, probably. But
okay. Yeah. I feel like I've only had one negative interaction. It wasn't negative. It was just okay. They're not voting. We're the way we want them to vote. So I normally show up, and even if, like, I feel like I've had some long conversations like that, but I always end up just saying, well, it's so good to talk with you, and I'm gonna leave this here anyways. You know, you can always like look them up here, and then what else would I say?
Yeah, I'm usually not. I usually don't have a real long conversation. When I get that vibe, I'm just like,
yeah,
having a
nice day.
yeah. I'm like, I'm still gonna leave this here. I'm still gonna talk to you.
And they usually say, to their credit, they're like, I really appreciate that you're going out and doing this. Because I hit one a while back, and it was basically, you know, thank you for going out, and you know, because they see it as also a civic duty that you're doing something positive for this country, even though they may not agree with your candidate choice or whatever, but just like, you know, mark them in minivan and stuff. But I haven't had any really bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's also because, like, I overheard this guy because we were together. His issue was the guns stuff. So that's a good time where if you know the candidates well enough, you can be like, well, is there a reason you're on the fence about XYZ person? And you can, if they are open and engaging, that's where you could like be like, well, I hear you, but also, you know.
Like, actually, Beto doesn't want to do that. He's
Right,
really focused on this.
It just depends what kind of vibes you're getting.
Yeah.
I usually let them know too, say, you know, I apologize, I'm sorry we knocked on your door, because you're in our list, and I'm gonna mark you down to make sure. Sometimes it does, but I try to let them know, so, you know.
Yeah, I feel like all of the experiences I've had so far have all been good. And you're right, a lot of people are like, thank you so much for being out there.
Yeah, I get a lot of that.
I am curious what you all said yesterday, though, about the gun stuff.
I am too.
I couldn't tell you what I said.
There was a lot
I have no brain left. But I basically told, he was worried about, Beto's going to take my guns. And I said, well, here's what I know. I know he wants better background checks. And I know he wants to raise the age to buy a gun and ammunition to 21.
Right.
And he agreed with me that those are reasonable things to ask. He's worried about, I guess he must have an AR-15 or something. And then he had a third grader at the door hopping up and down, and we talked a little bit. And so I really talked about education.
Yeah.
I talked about my Collier and education. I talked about art leasing and education. So I brought it to like, and also I talked about balance. And I think that actually resonated in a way that I was surprised. I said all of our state Supreme Court, 100% Republican. All of our criminal court of appeals, 100% Republican. You know, we have all Republicans, and even if Beto does get elected, he's going to have a Republican legislature to deal with. He's not going to be king.
Right.
And, you know, so it's about, I think the balance thing actually struck him.
Yes.
And that was just something that just came in my mouth.
I would remember that point, actually, the balance things. That worked with some of my people who actually were Dems, but they didn't realize our state Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals are 100% Republican. So there are a lot of like more neutral people that, you know, they're like, well, things don't seem right, but I'm scared to vote for a Democrat. Well, we've literally been ruled by all Republicans for decades on the courts and then these elected positions that, you know, I was yamming on about. So if balance is important to them, you know, you can lead with, well, you know, like let's bring back some like actual balance and fairness and like different viewpoints.
So last week, I had a man say he thought the Republicans and the Democrats both suck.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to argue with me at all.
Yeah.
So what would you do? I didn't argue with him. So.
Nice day. He's not going to vote.
Yeah, I mean.
He's not going to vote.
Yeah, I was working with Elisa to make a little PowerPoint that shows the difference in how the Democrats and the Republicans in the Congress, the U.S. Congress vote, but I find a lot of people that say that just want an excuse to complain. They don't really want to make change. They just want to point out that both people suck.
And I mean, I have friends like that too, and I'm just like, well, okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I was like, I want a slideshow with like the votes. So it's like, let's see the veterans
Yeah,
vote.
like-
Do you support veterans? And it's like,
Right.
you know, the Republicans are on one side, the Democrats are. So I'm like, how do you feel about this issue? Do you feel like we should support veterans?
Yeah, you
I
can break
mean,
it down
'cause
by
it's pretty
issues.
like, it's black and white.
And
It's
if you've
like-
got somebody who's 65 or over, you know,
Right, like
the
Medicare.
Republicans are kind of gunning at Medicare
Right.
and Social Security.
Yeah. I mean, you could try to bring it back to one specific issue, but you know, you don't want people sitting at the doors for like ever because you got 30 more doors to hit.
Yeah.
You know, and there are a lot of negative energy out there. I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Rather convince the people that are already on our side to just
Mhm.
get to the polls.
Yeah.
Get to the polls, get to the polls.
And vote all the way down.
Down, all the way down.
Yeah. There is, what you guys were just saying about like the Texas Supreme and criminal courts being 100% Republican. There's little notes here on the back of the literature case, and as well as like governor, executive power, name Secretary of State for voting. Like it tells you a little bit in case you're like, wait, why was this one important? I can't remember everything Sarah said.
Yeah. The lit we purposely put little short infos on there.
And then I know Courtney was up here talking about minivan and block walking, but just some other tips that I had are just always take water, take a granola bar, comfy shoes. I like to take my kid because it feels like less threatening. People are like, oh, it's just a lady and her kid. And he's been coming with me since he was 3, and he just, kind of breaks the ice a little bit. Or take a new neighbor. Like I went with a new neighbor who'd always been writing postcards, and finally she was like, yeah, I want to walk around the neighborhood with you. And we were looking for unregistered voters, and it was just easy. She didn't have to do any talking because I was like, I didn't want to like scare her away right away. I was like, you don't have to talk, just come with me. And so she was like, that was so much fun. So now I'm like, all right, she can come with me again next time, and then eventually she'll be doing it on her own. Any other tips you guys can think of, Courtney? Or Lisa?
I go over some tips in the Zoom.
Yeah.
But I would rather hear from y'all right now, and I'll add your tips to my training. So.
I just start with telling people that I'm a volunteer, like that I'm a precinct
Yeah.
chair, that I'm volunteering, that I'm not paid to do it. Like
Yeah.
it makes people much nicer.
Yeah, and it says on the script too, but you can say you live in the area, and that way they know I'm like,
Yeah, I think that combo of I'm a volunteer and I live on Morgan Lane.
Yeah.
That's the magic place.
Yeah, they always start smiling once they say, hey, I live right down on Trout Drive.
I'm your neighbor.
Yeah, I'm your neighbor.
One other one that I tell people, and every single time I'm at Block Art Community, if I say this, I will have some people who do not know this. You can vote anywhere in Travis County on election day. And if you've got friends in the rest of the
Not
state.
just on election day, anytime.
I mean, not during early voting. I mean, it's everywhere in the state, you can vote at any early voting location within your county on early voting. But when it comes to election day, if you're talking about people who are in Harris County, Dallas County, Bexar County, Tarrant County, so many of our big urban areas have only just gone to countywide voting on election day. But we've had it for 10 years in Travis County. And I still get people that were like, really? On election day? And I'm like, yes.
I remember when it wasn't that, when you only could, that one place you could vote, was the only place you could vote.
I have a little tip. Okay, I'm kind of directionally challenged. So when you pick up the lit, there's a little printout of the map around it. So what I usually do is I look it up in Google Maps, and I take out a pen, I kind of pick a house that I'm gonna park near. I put that in my Google Maps, and then I literally draw arrows on the map to put the path that I'm going to walk, because I used to not do that, and I was just walking and retracing my steps and getting all confuzzled because I'm directionally challenged. But so I literally map out my walk ahead of time, and it makes it way more efficient. So if you're directionally challenged like I am, and your husband is not with you who's very good at directions like mine is, then that is a good way to make it less stressful, and that way you're not like looking at the map and the household at the same time.
And isn't there a way in minivan that you can have it run odds and evens?
Yeah. There is a filter.
I like to park in the middle
Yes.
of the turf
Yeah,
too,
Yeah.
and like having like you have the your apron right now, but having like something to
Yeah.
have your stuff.
Yeah.
We have
Especially-
aprons.
Especially when you're hot and you're sweating and you're like sweating
Yeah.
on the stuff you're giving the people.
And take the backup.
So it's better if you're not holding
Yes.
on to it.
fully charged phone and a portable battery if you're doing multiple
Yeah.
jobs. 'Cause sometimes a minivan does take up a lot of battery too.
I've even taken a break and just like sat in my car for 5 minutes. I'll like park my car in a logistical place.
I think another thing that we try to say in the Zoom trainings is, we give you we schedule times for you to pick up the turfs. I mean, Southwest is a little different because y'all have turfs live here all the time. But like in our chapter, we don't have quite the capacity of volunteers. And so we schedule a time for people to pick up a turf. And then we ask that you get it done within a week. And then we help you understand that once you get that one done, you can come back and get another one. But even like right now, a woman took a turf for me yesterday and it was really all she could do. She told me her schedule and I said, just take this very large turf, please get it done before early voting. So, you know, Terry talked about the best times to walk. So really, if you pick up on a Saturday morning, it's best to do it then or a Sunday, or, you know, you could even wait till the following Thursday evening like Terry suggested. But these are all things that when I came into it, I had no idea. I was like, what is a turf? What is this stuff? You know, so always feel free to share questions and tips because it makes, we are seeing the culture of not only voting, but also volunteering drive up, and Blue Action wants our volunteers to feel supported, so that we can keep you coming back, frankly. It's all just a trick, just come back. Anyway, yeah, so feel free to share your tips with me.
Before you wrap, can you let people know again the office hours?
So the office hours are posted. Reliably, there was someone here 10 to 4, Monday through Friday. Some days we have staff that comes later. I'd like to say that we have someone here until 7 o'clock each night, but we're a volunteer organization. So we try to keep the office hours posted on the door. So if you want to just take a picture of that on the way out. But what I'm saying is that occasionally we add more hours, and sometimes, a volunteer may leave and, we can't get it filled in. But the office hours are pretty good, the ones that are on the door. And I don't have them in front of me, so I can't read them out. Yeah, just come on by. I mean, we're here, we have the turfs, you can take them anytime. I think any afternoon is a good time. And I think it just depends also on the neighborhood, because I've done mornings, weekday mornings, and I've had people answer the door too. So it's not, I don't know, I've never really looked at the percentages of who's answered or not, but I always feel like it's about the same, maybe 30% answer. So.
Yeah. I have found that the mornings are pretty good.
Yeah.
Last week, my sister and I did a lot of neighborhoods, and it was mostly men answering the door. I was really surprised, actually. And they did answer it. And they talked to us, which was another surprise. But most of them were on the registry.
I did think of one thing we didn't talk about on the list. So when the Democrats and Republicans, it's you can see it marked, but sorry. But the Democrats and Republicans you can see marked on the list, but when you get down to the bottom to the nonpartisan, the mayor, the city council, and the school board, Blue Action, we don't endorse, and so that's a personal endorsement you can make at the door, and I just recommend circling on there. The Travis County Democratic Party has endorsed in 2 of our races for trustees and for AISD. So Arthi Singh, she's an at-large candidate. District 9 is what her district is. And then District 4, Catherine Whitley Chu. It's pretty unprecedented that the Travis County Democratic Party would endorse, and it's because of the far right-wing beliefs that these other candidates have, these opposing candidates have. So, but anyway, definitely talk about that and let them know, especially if your passion issue is education, talk about that.
And Is the other point for people who haven't used our lit before, there's different lit for different parts of the county.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of us are not in that area.
Yes, thank you for
City
saying
of
that.
Austin.
Right.
Yeah, we've
And have different
we've customized.
Yeah, it's customized down to the precinct level. Like in my precinct, I have 2 city council districts, and so I have lit for those 4 blocks, and then the rest of my lit is for the other.
So don't mix your lit.
Yeah, don't mix your lit. That is a really good, easy way to put it. Don't mix.
34 versions, people.
Yeah. Michelle worked really hard on that.
Honor Michelle.
Yes. Yeah. Also, the last
I
thing
never
say-
want to do it again.
I know. It's pretty rough. It's left us tired for weeks.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say is we talked about the cheat sheet that we created, that Sarah and I mentioned it as well. One thing I've noticed is I don't have the Republicans on there. I think I should fix that because, and then, but the beauty of that sheet is that there's a QR code that you can have the person scan at the door, and then they can share that with their friends. Whereas they can't share their piece of lit because that piece of lit is for them to take to the door. But this sheet has a QR code that they can scan.
And tell them if they're going to take the cheat sheets to the polling places, you can't look on your phone to get it. You have to have
Yeah.
I've been telling that to people too.
Yeah, it's in the script as well. So we tell them to fold it because one side is very blue action Democrat, but for the candidate side, there's no identifying. It's nonpartisan, and that's on purpose. So if they fold it inward when they walk in, people won't see it. Right?
That's right.
That's right.
Well done.
All right. Okay, I meant this to be a really short meeting, sorry. So thank you guys for being here. Please take a tour if we need to get more pins on our board in our area for Diana and the coordinated campaign. We have some precincts out here that don't have a lot of volunteers. So we decided to cut those first and try to get those moving so we can eliminate them before the precinct chairs get their areas. And I will go block walking with anyone who will go with me. Would you like to go? Okay.
I don't know if anyone neighborhood is doing a national night out, but it's this Tuesday, and our neighborhood had ours last night, and I set up a voter registration table. Nobody needed to register to vote, but I talked to so many Democrats about our candidates all night long. So if you guys have anything in your neighborhood, it's this Tuesday. Talk to your neighborhoods about setting up. I was like a nonpartisan voter reg table, but I just chatted with them.
Helps.
All right. All right. You want to say goodbye?
Huh?
Say goodbye for the video.
Thanks for Thanks guys, thanks for being here.
Thank